And the Chicagoland Executive Airport report by Mr. Kearns.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Bring you greetings from Chicago Executive Airport. It's been a somewhat eventful month. We've been in the paper a little bit the last week or two regarding an issue over fueling or fuel sales at the airport. Let me start out by just going through quickly a couple of lesser importance things. Budget-wise, our budget continues to be in very good shape. We're 2 months into our fiscal year. Our expenses are under budget and our revenue is over budget, which is always a good thing. Right, Stephanie? That's usually what we like, right? When we look at major projects, the only real major construction project this summer is resurfacing of runway 1634, our major runway. We're about 55 to 60% done with that resurfacing. That's a weekend project where we're shutting down the runway to allow that paving to occur. And hopefully we'll be done a week early from what they tell us. We've had pretty good weather and being able to get keep that project on pace. So to the subject of self-serve fuel, had a meeting last Wednesday, our regular meeting. Was quite well attended, which is not the norm for us. And the topic was certainly, as you may have read in the newspaper, self-serve fuel. We as a board had determined with the help of our attorney that in no way could we enter into any sort of arrangement whereby we would sell fuel competing with the 3 fixed base operators that work at our airport. If we did, we would be subject to a Part 16 complaint by anyone or all 3 of those fixed base operators. And so we declined any involvement in the sales of that fuel because of our minimum standards that were put in place several years ago, many years ago actually. In the interim period, as we were getting ready to meet, an offer was made by Signature Flight Support to essentially allow the pilots that are part of the PAPA organization at Chicago Executive to purchase fuel from them at essentially a self-serve price while getting full service, fuel pumped, windshields washed, access to the FBO for a 9-month trial period, really for a couple purposes. The main one being to try and determine if demand is really going to be there, and if there is enough demand, would it then make financial sense for any one of those or all 3 of those FBOs to put in their own self-serve pumps. So the results of that we won't know until late next year. That's going to start in January, that trial period. And so that you know the numbers, when we sell fuel at the airport, only about 3.2% of all the fuel sold is 100 low lead avgas to the piston pilots. The other 96.8% is Jet A fuel when we're looking at where the revenue comes from. So you can see why, let's just say the FBOs are going to take a real measured approach to how they don't want to expend a lot of capital looking at self-service pumps if there isn't really a demand. And I'm not here to talk on behalf of those FBOs, but that is what we've heard in speaking to all 3 of them. Okay? That's really all that I had to go over. I'd see if there's any questions that I might be able to answer.
Questions or comments, Alderman Williamson? Alderman Ludvigson?
Yes, in the paper the other day I saw something about the topic of sales tax come up again. Is that finalized? Has the airport's attorney given them a determination letter saying that they are certain that that provision doesn't apply to the Chicago Executive?
No, we have not gotten anything formal in writing yet. They were confident of it at the time the question was asked, but perhaps that would be good for us to go back to them and ask for something in writing in that regard. Thank you.
Alderman Dolik?
No questions.
Alderman Messmer.
I don't have anything.
Thank you,
Okay.
Bill. Great
Thank you.
job. You guys are doing a great job, and I'm glad we're not selling gas at the gas pump.
Well, the one thing I also didn't mention it was the liability the airport could potentially take on by getting in the fuel sales business that, you know, the minimum standards are the main reason, but certainly, you know, there's liability that comes with selling fuel to someone going up in the air in an airplane. And at this point, we don't see any reason that we'd want to get into that business. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.